The wife cheats on her husband for 25 years. Her husband discovers the secret, but it is too late. Hello, everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. The movie kicks off with on a luxury yacht in Milan, looking genuinely happy. Soon after, we see her at a fashion event alongside her husband, David, and their daughter, Madison. It's obvious that is a shoe designer, and all the models are showcasing her footwear creations. After the show, David and Madison head to the model's dressing room, where greets the designer, Sandra, and her assistant, Ralph. At that point, Madison tells her dad she's leaving because her husband, Mark, is waiting outside. She says goodbye to her mom and leaves with Mark. Meanwhile, Ralph's friend and Sandra's assistant tries to persuade her not to retire, but insists she's made up her mind and believes now is the perfect moment to step away. Later, David approaches and says, "You know Ralph?" To which she responds, "Yes." Then David tells her, "I'll leave you with them and meet you at the restaurant so we can celebrate this milestone." Shortly thereafter, arrives at the restaurant where David is waiting. They sit down, chat for a bit, and he mentions how much he loves her shoe designs but admits he's not a fan of Sandra or Ralph. They order their meals from the menu, and David remarks that Milan's fish restaurants are unmatched. We learn that often travels to Milan to finalize deals with shoe stores. Curious, then asks David, "Have you ever felt like being with someone other than me?" He quickly replies, "No, I've spent over half my life with you and my love for you has never diminished. I never felt the need for anyone else." She responds softly, "I love you so much. If I didn't, I would left you long ago." A few days later, tells him she's going back to Milan to handle some business matters with clients. She packs her bags and departs. 9 months pass, and we see David removing Olive's clothes from their house. At the same time, Madison visits him and finds him gathering her mother's clothing. He tells her, "I don't want to see this stuff anymore." She replies, "We're the same size, but I don't want these either." Just then David finds phone, picks it up and slides it into his desk drawer. Madison hands him a piece of paper saying, "Mom asked me to give you this." When David opens it, he sees the words like. That night, a voice message arrives on his phone. David listens and hears a man say, "I miss you so much. I haven't heard your voice in ages and I wish I could see you." David is stunned. He'd never imagined might have been unfaithful for so long. He leaves the phone on his laptop and goes upstairs to sleep, but his mind refuses peace. The next day, he returns to the office and starts browsing through the photos on her laptop, which are mostly family pictures. Then he finds a folder titled Love. When he tries to open it, it's password protected. He guesses a few times, but they're all wrong. He continues scrolling and uncovers photos of with Ralph from the recent fashion show. They're very close in these pictures. Suddenly, an email from someone named Ralph pops up. The message is passionate, reminiscing about their love and pleading for her to leave everything behind and come to him to reignite their romance. The following morning, David confronts Ralph at the fashion house, asking, "Were you involved with?" Ralph responds, "No, but I wish we'd been closer. You're not right for her. I don't understand why she loved or married you." Sandra then tells David she knew was involved with someone else but never knew who. David leaves but later visits Madison and confesses everything. She refuses to believe him, insisting, "I won't let you talk about my mom that way." She even prepares a room for him to sleep in. But when she leaves, David sneaks out and heads home. That evening, he sends Ralph a message, claiming his number no longer exists, and deletes it. The next morning, David calls his secretary, asking her to summon Joy, the company's cybersecurity expert. When she arrives, he gives her his email address, instructing her to find out the identity behind it. She questions whether he plans to track down the sender, and he replies ominously, "To kill him." She promises to gather the info, and he stays at the office until evening. Then another email from Ralph comes in, saying that love never truly ends and referencing the countless memories they shared. He ends by saying how glad he was that responded to him earlier. Panicked, David visits the security manager at work and asks, "Where can I buy a gun?" The man refuses to answer. Later, David tries various passwords to open the hidden folder on her laptop until he types lake, and it unlocks. Shocked, he sees photos of with another man in Milan, meeting at restaurants by the lake, even in hotel rooms. It's clear she had a secret relationship. Joy then provides him with the details of the email sender, Ralph, 36, living in Italy, specifically on 36th Street in Milan. David commands his secretary to book a flight and hotel. Once in Milan, he goes to Ralph building but finds the gate locked. Waiting outside, he manages to sneak in when a resident opens the gate. He searches the mailboxes but does find Ralph's name, then heads upstairs, hoping Ralph will come out. Soon, Ralph appears and walks into a. David follows, watching him sit in the chess section. He stays back as Ralph enters and they later play chess together. During their game, Ralph mentions that his mother was English, his father Spanish, and that he loves visiting London and New York. David, sensing more beneath the surface, asks about Ralph's travels in England, and Ralph recounts how he met a woman from Cambridge, who was a shoe designer, at which point David's suspicions deepen. Ralph describes how he first saw her wearing striking red shoes and they struck up a conversation. Ralph then reveals it was 12 years ago. David feels a jolt of betrayal but keeps calm, asking, "When was the last time you saw her?" Ralph answers, "9 months ago, but I believe I'll see her again soon." At the same time, Madison and her husband go to David's house, worried. Madison finds phone and listens to Ralph's message, shocking her because she doubted her father's stories. The next day, Ralph and David meet again at playing another chess game. David inquires if Ralph used to visit Milan often. Ralph replies affirmatively and recounts a night at a shoe factory when wanted to end things, but Ralph begged her to run away with him. He describes dancing with her in front of factory workers, who cheered them, and rushing home together in the rain afterwards. David recalls a day returned from Milan, smiling and telling him she missed him. He thought this meant she appreciated him more, unaware she'd been unfaithful. Ralph then shares that the day after, they visited a museum, where he asked if he'd ever married his past girlfriends. Ralph responds that he doesn't believe in marriage, nor does he settle down, and mentions having a son from an affair he knows nothing about. David questions whether Ralph is married, and Ralph responds that he's been with his partner for 25 years but isn't married. The next day, Ralph and David play chess again, with Ralph teasing that he'll win. Suddenly, Ralph receives a call from his number. Frightened, he answers and calls her name, then rushes out. David quickly follows. It turns out it was Madison who used her mother's phone to call Ralph. Hearing her voice, Ralph ends the call instantly, but that hope rekindles within him. The next morning, Madison visits her father's office to check his whereabouts. Meanwhile, Ralph tells David that the call was from. He claims she's the most beautiful woman in the world and that, once she left him, he realized she was the only one he truly loved. Ralph begins recounting their time together. When David loses his temper, Ralph dismisses it, saying, "It's just a game." But things take a dark turn when Ralph spots a creditor entering the. He quickly leaves, paying what he owes, and Ralph chases after him. Madison then finds out who her mother was involved with, hears Ralph's voice, and is stunned. Later, David encounters Ralph's true living situation. He's the building's janitor. Ralph explains he only goes downstairs to care for a little turtle he found outside. As David sees a hammer in the room, walls tighten around him. He's about to attack Ralph but hesitates when Ralph offers him the turtle, calling it adorable. He takes it, then leaves, torn inside. Back at the hotel, Madison is ready to go back to London, urging her father to forget all this, but David refuses. She leaves, and he sends Ralph an email pretending to be, saying they'll meet at the old Lakeside Hotel on Friday at 8 p.m. Ralph's overjoyed and invites David to dinner at his apartment the next day. Knowing the owners are away, David borrows keys to an empty apartment in Ralph's building. When he arrives early, Ralph calls him from the stairs, inviting him upstairs, even though David knows it's not really Ralph's place. Ralph claims he's going to meet on Friday and asks to borrow money. David hands him the full amount, and Ralph begins packing to stay at the hotel that evening. At the dinner, Ralph is shocked to find David waiting for him. David then drops the bomb. He's Lisa's widower. Died of cancer 9 months earlier. We flash back to the moment when David learned about her terminal diagnosis. The doctor explained she hadn't wanted treatment to avoid disfigurement. David's devastated by the memory, yelling that her body's fate wasn't worth fighting for. We see choosing their favorite spot, lake, for her final days, and her daughter passing the note to her father before she died. In the present, Ralph admits that Lisa was right. To refuse treatment, they believe her choice was brave. David, overwhelmed, insists that her life could have been saved. Ralph responds that Lisa always looked beautiful and was happy, and that the medical intervention would have been disfiguring. David explodes. In a flashback, Lisa tells David she was happy, but she couldn't bring herself to write her final wish, the place she loved most, the note she gave her daughter. As she worsens, David and Abigail take turns caring for her. Back with Ralph, he questions how David discovered the affair. David reveals he found the love folder on her laptop and that he even replied to Ralph's messages. Ralph admits he's a failure but claims he made Lisa feel loved in a way David never had and that she genuinely loved him. He thanks David for the money, enough for a suit and a stay in his luxury hotel, but says he'll never fully pay him back. David leaves enraged. We return again to death. She's laid out with David and Abigail by her side, grief-stricken. Time passes. David later phones his daughter, asking her to meet in London. When she arrives, she finds him having dinner with Ralph, introducing him as her wife's friend and honoring her memory. Madison stands beside him, proud. Finally, at the train station awaiting their ride back to Cambridge, David tells her Ralph is beneath them. He lacks the dignity to matter. And with that, the story ends. If you enjoyed this movie, don't forget to like and subscribe for updates on our latest videos.